Okay, so last class, what is the concept we discussed?
Sir, method overloading,
Mhm.
discussing this keyword, super keyword, and uh, flow of constructor flow, method flow.
Okay, so we discussed about so inheritance. That means with respect to constructors, with respect to methods, how the JVM is going to work when you call constructor, how JVM is works. When you call method, how JVM works. You understood, and and also I explained about this keyword and super keyword. This keyword is a this and free super or predefined keywords, and which is known by already Java compiler and JVM. Correct. So I so the JVM can understand that this keyword is a always can hold current running object, and super keyword means it will refer to the super class of the current running class. I mean current class. Okay, this is what we understood. Correct, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. Okay. So let me take one program which we wrote yesterday. So when we are trying to create object for B class, and so if you look at that, the B class internally calls the superclass of the B class, that is A. So this code we no need to add, so that by default will be added by compiler if you don't add actually, right? So this is how the constructor works. So how the constructor, so is the top to bottom or bottom to top? How the constructor execution will happen?
Top to bottom.
Top to bottom, sir.
Yeah, the object creation will happen for the first super, and then the next sub, like that it will come to the which is last class. So like that, we have seen the example also. That is how they executed, right? Okay, and also we understood that multiple inheritance and multi-level inheritance. Java will not support multiple
Multiple
inheritance
engineering.
with respect to the classes. And when we talk about interfaces, and we'll try to understand how it works there. But if you want to extend multiple classes, like if you want to extend two classes, three classes to a class, that is not possible. You can extend only one class at a time. Like, but so multi-level is possible, but not multiple. Okay. So I hope everybody understood what is the main use of inheritance. We can
Yes, sir.
reuse
Yes, sir.
and how it works. And if you write a simple class also, it is by default involved in inheritance, because super object is a super class for any class in the Java. Correct, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but fine. So so what are the fundamental concepts we discussed, like encapsulation, inheritance, and method overloading and method overriding.
Overriding.
Method overriding, and also um, method, when we are writing a method overloading, so the signature should be different, not signature should be same, everything should not be same, then the compiler will not allow, right? So method name and signature, we can maintain different signatures, then in the same class, that is called method overloading. And if you keep the same method in superclass and subclass, then we can say it is a method overriding. Can we override a static method? Can we override a static method?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No, sir. Static method.
First, listen. What I'm saying here. So I'm writing a static method. Okay, static int add which take x comma int y. This is the code, and I'm returning something. Let us say I'm returning x plus y. I'm returning x plus y. So, yeah. So this is the static method which I declared in class A. So because I added this keyword, so due to that we can call this method is a static method. And so I'm going to I'm going to override that method. Override method. So in the subclass, if you try to write the same method in subclass, what is available in superclass, that is called overriding. So how to override? So method, the same method. So variables names can be anything, but method name and signature, if we keep the same, then we can call it as a method overriding. If we keep the same thing, okay. Now let me compile this and run it. Okay, let me compile first whether the compile is going to allow it or not. So what I am trying to do here, so I kept the static method inside A class and I tried to override that method in B class as B is the subclass of A. So path equal to, why I'm doing this, everybody remember, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Java C A dot Java. Java C B dot Java. So look at that. So when I'm trying to compile B dot Java, what it is saying? Add int in B cannot override add int in A. Clearly it is saying that you cannot override a method add which is available in A in B. So, and also it is saying that overridden method is static. That means you cannot override static methods. Okay, we cannot override a static methods. So look at that in a B class. In a B class, so I wrote this instance method or static method.
Instance method.
But the method is same as a static. It's overridden. Let us say I kept the superclass is a static, and I will keep the subclass method also as a static only. Now, so now I will try to compile A.java and B.java. Any issues now?
No, sir.
No.
No,
So
sir.
that means compiler is accepting. Right? Compiler is accepting, na?
Yes,
That
Yes, sir.
means, so do you think we are overriding is possible there? But let us see how override works. Override always works on the runtime, right? It's not compile time. Compile time only checks the syntax. But when you try to do that, clearly it said that it's not possible. Now, so earlier we discussed it completely with the instance methods. Okay, I kept instance method in the superclass and the same instance method in the subclass, and we try to do that. And when you call the method, it executed always the subclass. Now look at these static methods and try to understand it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in the test class, yeah, in the test class, what is the test class here? Oh my god, yeah. So what is the test class? Okay, I'm trying to create object for which class here? For B. Okay,
B, sir.
and I will try to call. I will try to call. I will try to call. I will try to please listen carefully and concentration here. You should understand some point here. So I'm going to pause for 5, 7. Okay. So you guys know very well how the JVM works at this line, right? So how it works now? So JVM checks that what is the reference variable holding. JVM, I'm talking JVM, not compilation. So reference variable holding. What is the object it is holding by that reference variable?
B, sir.
B. And what it will do, it will open the B and look for a method add which takes the two parameters of int, right? Two into parameters.
Yes, sir.
Is
Yes.
the method is available in the B class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is available. Then it executes that method. Okay. So whether this method is executed, that method is executed, to understand, what I will do is I will just keep the message here. Okay. And now we are trying to understand static methods level. I mean, overriding a static methods. Look at that. Okay. We are in B class. We are in B class, add method. We are in B class, add method. Just I kept this message. The same message, I mean, why I'm keeping this message? If that method is executed, this message will be displayed so that we can, we can understand that, okay, which method is executed. Okay. And let me go to, the A class. Okay, A class. What is the A class here? So the same message, but I'm saying that this is in A class. So now I kept the messages successfully, and let me saved. Okay. Yeah. So I'm calling that. Okay. Now let me compile and call that. So which method will execute? We will try to. So based on this code, what you understood, which method will be executed? A method which is inside a B class or A class?
B class, sir.
B class. So the reason is JVM always checks that which class object is holded by that, and call the methods and all these things. Okay, let me compile test.java. Let me compile test.java and JVM test. So if you see that, which class method is executed here?
B class.
B class method. Okay. So now, guys, please look at this carefully. Look at this carefully. And what I'm going to do, small change. Okay, small change. Okay. So small change. This one. Tell me now. So is it correct code? Is this line is correct?
Yes, sir.
So why it is correct? How it is possible? So I try to hold one class object into different kind of, another class type reference variable.
Superclass object reference holded by subclass, sir.
So superclass object reference variable can hold subclass object. So because that is having some relation. Okay. So because B is the subclass and A is the superclass, so that reference variable can hold it. Okay. So can I keep B or do I need to add A? Is it mandatory? Can I use B here? Variable,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
variable name. Yeah. So
Yes.
that is not a problem. Don't think that, okay, in such a way. Now, let me compile now. Let me compile. Now, guys, tell me how it works. Java C, test.java, sorry, A.java, and B.java. So which class we change the source code? Only test.java, na? Only test.java, na? So we no need to compile all those things. Test.java, let me compile test.java and let me run. What is the output? I mean, which method will be executed in this scenario?
B class, sir.
Huh?
B class method.
B class only. B class only. Look at that. Look at this success. I mean, different answer we got, which we accepted, which we expect is not we got. Okay, now you might little bit confused here. So why always the JVM checks this and works on this like this, right? Yes, that is correct, 100% correct. But if you work with the instance methods, if you work with the instance methods, I just changing that. So now I'm making these two methods or instance methods. So that means we are trying to override. We are trying to override. We are trying to override what methods? Instance methods. Like we are working with the instance method. Now look at that. So when you work with the Java C test.java and Java, we are getting now. What is we are getting now? B class. Okay, we are getting B class method. We are executing that JVM is executing B class method. So now listen here properly. Whenever you are overriding a instance methods, so that works. That means you can override. So we can override instance method. So that is, but here whenever you are overriding a static method, so static method it won't work as a overriding, because so always the thing is with respect to static method only I'm talking. Static methods memory allocation, mean without object creation also we can call it na. So then for the static method calling, so it no need of the object generally, right? So that is the reason the static methods will not involve in this process, like always holds the object reference variable and call that. So it will not involve in that concept. So please remember, so static methods we cannot override. Are you able to override now when you work with the static method? That means overriding means what? First it always checks the subclass, and whatever the scenario, if you are holding the object reference variable by superclass reference variable, object value by superclass reference variable, or directly the same object reference variable. So but whatever the object always is holded, and it has to check in that class, and it has to check for that method which we are calling. But if it is not available, then only you should go for the superclass. If it works such a way, so the override will happen. But so that is not happening in the static methods. That is happening only in
Instance.
instance method. You only look at that, right? You only see in this proof that. So when you work with that, so it always, so if you try to override the static methods will not involve in the overriding. Can we override static methods now?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
What I am asking you, what you are saying. So till now we discussed we cannot override static methods, but when I ask, you are saying yes.
So yesterday class you're saying
So
it's not.
static methods. Tell me clearly. I'm yesterday class.
Sir,
What happened in yesterday class?
your voice is breaking.
In yesterday class.
No, sir.
Okay, one second. We cannot override static methods because you have seen that, right? So right now, so with example, we can override. So first of all, everybody understood what is override? Padma, tell
Yes,
me what
sir.
is override? What is meaning of method overriding?
Overriding.
Method overriding. So can you explain me what is method overriding?
Same method in two different classes, sir.
Same method in not two different classes. You have to say, if you write the same method in superclass and subclass, then we can say it is a overriding concept. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, if those two classes are not involved in a relation, like if you don't have any subclass superclass relation, then we cannot say that is override. We can, okay. So we can say only if you have the same method in superclass and subclass, then only we can call that is method overriding.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now, so when you try to work with the instance methods, I wrote instance method superclass and subclass, then it will involve in a method overriding. But when you work with the static methods, that is not, those are not working as overriding. But means it's not overriding the method. Sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes it means when you are holding that object by superclass reference variable, it is executing superclass method only, not in the subclass method. That's what we have seen here, right?
Yes, sir.
So then we can say the static methods we cannot override. Can we
No,
override static methods?
no, sir.
No, sir.
Huh?
No,
Okay.
sir.
No.
Okay. So now you guys understood the difference between static and instance methods, in a different layers, like while creating object, while calling the methods. So you guys understood the totally difference between a static and instance, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Method overloading. Okay. Let me write the method overloading with respect to the static methods. So the same method. What is meaning of method overloading? You guys know that very well, right? So same method with a different signature. Same method with a different signature. So like for example, double y. Let us say double y. Okay. Fine. So let me compile this program. Compile this program. Only this a dot Java. Java C a dot Java. So what is the problem? This is incompatible types. This is a different issue because we are trying to say, look at that possible lossy conversion from double to int. Okay, incompatible types here. Look at that. So what we are doing is we are taking one integer variable and where is that? Sorry, man. What we are doing here, we are taking one integer variable and one double variable, and we are trying to do the addition. Okay, we are trying to do the addition, but so when we are working with a one less size of variable and big size of variable, if you do involve addition, always output will come in big size of variable, type of variable, I mean big size of type. So that is the reason we are trying to return as a int, but it is involving like a integer and addition double, so the output will always the double only. So that is the reason it is double we are returning here, and here int we are mentioning. That is what it is saying, the compiler. We cannot convert it. So that's what it is saying. See that incompatible types from double to int. So it is saying that this is clearly this expression value is double. So that is what it's talking, right? You understood here the error, okay?
Yes, sir.
So now let me make it is double now, double, or else make it like this only for time being. And so what I will do is I will return something 7 like this statically. Let's make it like so. Our concept is not to understand the calculations and all, understanding the overriding. So look at that. So this is the method a add. This is also method add, right? And what is the parameters here? Two integer parameters. This is one int and one double. So can I say the method signature of this method is different?
Yes,
This
sir.
method
Yes,
signature
sir.
and this method is signature. So when we keep a signature is a different, like then so compiler won't give any problem. Okay, if we keep the signature and method name both are same, it says that method is already available. Okay, but so signature, when you keep a different signature, then we can say it's a method overloading. And I'm trying to compile that a.java. Okay, any issues now?
No,
No,
sir.
no issues. And let me go to the test.java and let me call a. I'm trying to create object for which class? A, now a class, and I'm holding it a class reference variable only. I'm trying to call add 5 comma 7. So what are the values I'm passing here? 5 comma 7. So which method it will call? It will call the first method or second method?
First
First
method.
method, sir.
Why it calls first method?
Both are
Both are integers.
Both are integer.
Both are integer because the value which we are passing both are integer. So based on our input, that particular method will be called. And now let us see that Java C test.java. Okay, compile successfully, and let's go to the run. So which method is executed now? But we have not kept like that. No? Can I keep add one and add two like this so that we can, because we kept the same message in the same two methods. But how can you understand which method is executed? It's not possible, no? So that is the reason I'm trying to compile test.java. Please remember here, when you compile test.java, what are the classes we are using? What are the classes you are using in the test.java? All classes also will be compiled automatically. You don't need to compile individually. Like, we are using a. If you do that, that's fine. But so you don't need to require. If you compile this test.java, what other classes also will compile? A.java will also be compiled. The reason is because it is a dependency here. So which is dependent? What is the which is dependent class for this test class? What is the dependent here? So
Main
A
method.
class, main method is fine. Which class we are using inside test class? I mean, inside test class main method, A class. That means without, if you don't have A class, will this program will execute? No. So can we say this A class is dependent to for a test class?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So all dependent classes of that particular program, whatever the program you are compiling, not only test class, whatever program you are compiling. So all programs, I mean that program, if it is using any other classes, all dependent class will be compiled. So what is the proof that? Look at that. So I'm going to delete it. This A dot class, B dot class, and test dot class. So if I compile test dot class, what are the compilation we should expect? Test.java. If I compile the Java C test.java, what is the output you are expecting after compilation? When you compile any Java program, what is the compilation output?
Dot class file generated.
Dot class file. It will generate the dot class file. So now which file we are compiling now? Test.java. Na? So what is the output? Huh? What is the output you are expecting? Hello? So generally it should generate test.class, right?
Yes, sir.
Test.class. And look at that. The compilation, how many classes generated here? A.class and test.class. Because test.class internally using the A.class, it is always compiled. So when you compile, so a class, all dependent classes will be compiled automatically by the compiler. Right? So do you need to compile individually again and again? No, it's not required. So for your understanding, I use it to do that. Now going forward, we no need to do that. For your understanding, I try to compile this class, compile this class, compile. So like that. Okay. So going forward, think about it. When I'm compiling a class, if you are using any classes in that class, or automatically the compiler will try to compile all other classes. What are the classes we are using into that particular program? Okay, now it's compiled now successfully. And what I'm doing in a test.java now, test.java, I created object for A and I'm calling a method add. Now you know that. So Java test. So which class method is executed now? Which method is executed now in the same class only? Add one. Add one is executed because the add one method is taking, I mean, add one means, so first method is taking two parameters, but the two integer parameter. We are also passing here integer only. Let us make it as 6. Sorry, 6. So what is the value it is?
Double.
Double. What is the value it is? Integer. By default, we can say it is an integer. So we are passing int type value and double type value. Now tell me which method will execute, second method or first method?
Second method.
Second method. You know that, but second method is taking two inputs. I mean,
One
what is the
integer and one double.
one double. So that is the reason we are getting here add 2. add to. Okay, so you guys understood, right? So now what I will do is I will just change it 7.6 comma 5. Now you guys tell me which method will compile and which method will be executed. So
It's error,
first
sir.
parameter is double and second parameter is integer. Now I will try to compile test.java. When I'm trying to compile test.java, so look at that. What is saying here? It's giving compilation talking something. Hey guys, so you are doing something mistake here. Look at that. No suitable method found for add, double, and int. So it is looking for which method? This method. Is this method is declared anywhere in the class?
No, sir.
No.
No,
No,
sir.
it is not declared. So this signature is totally different. We have add int signature and add int double
Int
signature.
double signature.
We don't mention any class, any method add which takes double and int. So with this signature, that's what it is. The compiler is talking. So no suitable method found. The compiler is not able to find that method, and clearly saying that add is not applicable. Argument mismatch possibly method, something like that. So you are trying to call, so it's not matching. So it is clearly saying that I tried to call this method, it's not matching. I tried to call this method, it's not matching. Like that, I try to look at that. It's clearly giving some messages. So look at that errors, how the JVM, I mean, the compiler is working like that. So this kind of error messages you will not see in the C programming language. So in this clearance, with this clear, by reading clearly, you can easily understand what is my problem, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct, na? So look at that, how the compiler clearly talking to you. So what is your mistake and all? Okay, so you can understand that this programming language compilation errors will not like in a single line. Clear explanation will give with the line number and where that is problem and mocking and the reasons like that. So okay, so the compiler process is very good in the Java with respect to C programming language. Okay, fine. Like this, whether it is a static method or instance method, whatever method. So what is happening here? Based on the methods are same and with a different signature, based on your input, the particular method will call. We can say that is method overloading.
Loading.
Overloading.
Loading.
So okay. So now I'm going to talk about polymorphism. So what are the techniques we discussed right now? Encapsulation,
Inheritance,
inheritance,
method overriding, method overloading.
overloading. Okay, let me talk about polymorphism. It's one more object-oriented concept. So what is polymorphism? What is polymorphism? So guys, please tell me what is polymorphism. I'm not asking the technical explanation, how it works and example, just simply I'm asking what is polymorphism. It's a word, na? So what is a word? Polymorphism. So what is the meaning of that? What is meaning of poly?
Many, sir. Many.
Two or more.
Poly means
Many. Yeah.
Different.
Polymorphism means many forms. What is the meaning of that? Many forms. Okay. Polymorphism, many forms. So one object, in the technical terms, if you talk, so one object acts differently. Okay, acts differently. So acts differently. One object acts differently. So like in anything, if it is acting one time one way, but only one only, but it is acting differently, many ways or many forms. We can say that concept is a polymorphism. So this is one. This is a simple. If we talk about that, but with examples, we will talk detail. But so for now, whether we already use the polymorphism technique, already explained or not, try to understand. Yes, I already explained, but I have not used that word polymorphism. But still, we already worked with that. So that technique. Okay. So for example, you are a student, na? Right now you are listening the class. You are the same person, but let us say now Renuka is a student, right? So student. So now after this class, I mean, when she go home, she is a
Children.
children for a parent. Okay, when she go for movie, she is a
Audience.
audience. So when she go for, I mean, when she travel in a bus, she is a
Passenger.
passenger, right?
Passenger.
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
So when she come to the company and works for a project, she is a
Employee.
Employee.
employee. Person is same, but acting
Different.
differently. So many forms. Now we can look at many forms in Renuka, right? So this is what the technique we use in real time, right? So in our real life. So this is where we will work, right? So but the thing is, person is same. So sometimes we are calling her student. Sometimes we are calling her employee. Okay, audience, passenger, like this. Correct, na? So passenger like this, children like this. So if you think this, one person is acting differently. So can you say Renuka is using the polymorphism technique or not? So can you observe the polymorphism technique in Renuka? Not only Renuka, you can observe anyone in our life, in human being, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
like this, so like this, if you I try to understand that, so this is the same way. If one object one time it is acting like one thing and another thing, so then uh, we can say it is a polymorphism. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. So see, the method is same, method is same. I'm calling here which method? Add method. So based on my input, based on my input, now it is a one method. So what is the add method only? How it is working now? So based on my input, it is this method. It will act, it will work with this method. And based on when I change the input accordingly, it will change, it will work like this, work for this method. Like this, the same technique we are working here, right? So the same method based on input is working differently. Same method is working differently. Differently in the sense means different methods is a different signature, it is identified and is calling. So these all thing will be decided at compilation time or runtime, like so we suppose I'm calling this method, I'm calling this method. So I'm calling this method. So when I'm calling a method, so this thing will be at compilation time only, it decides now. Because we are calling a add method, we are calling a add method by using the reference variable b, and the reference variable b type is a. And when you call that, where the compiler checks, where the compiler checks, where the compiler checks in a class only, right? It checks for a class and look for that method. When the method found, it will compile successfully and it is decided. So like this, it's not like a overriding, it's like a overloading. So we can say it is a compiled, static polymorphism. Not about the static methods, it's a compile time polymorphism. Okay. And dynamic polymorphism, that means overriding. Overriding means, suppose you are based on the object, when you are calling a method, which method you should call, dynamically it is deciding. Dynamically it is working in a different way, but the deciding is happening at runtime, not at compilation time, right? So always the method's execution will happen at runtime only, but the deciding, when those are deciding, so if with respect to method overloading, the deciding is happening at a compilation time. With respect to method overriding, the decide is happening at a runtime. So runtime. So it is so we can say that is dynamic polymorphism. This is static polymorphism. That means compile time polymorphism. So did you understand about this word polymorphism and what I am talking here? So with respect to overloading and overriding, we already discussed. Just we are trying to apply the concept, I mean the different polymorphism concept for these two things: the working process, how it works, how we execution, everything we have seen with respect to method overloading and overriding. That's fine. So that will not change. But only thing is I am differentiating with some different words like static polymorphism and dynamic polymorphism. Okay, so dynamically it is happening because based on your object you are holding, based on that the method will be decided at runtime which method should be called. The same method, but which method should be called, it will decide at runtime. And we can this overloading way, so when you are calling a method, compilation time only it will be decided. So then we can say this is static polymorphism, that is dynamic polymorphism. Dynamically it is saying, statically means it is already fixed, that will only work. So that is how we can say method overloading is the static example for static polymorphism is, which is what is the best example? Method overloading. What is the example for dynamic polymorphism?
Overriding.
Method overriding. These are the words. I'm just trying to explain the words. Don't get confused. The process and everything is same. Okay, even if you don't know, because only purpose is when we're talking in an interview or somewhere, so it will help you. That's the reason I'm talking. It's not like, the concept wise, programmatic wise, we already understood. The same when we are developing, you are going to do that only. Okay, so you guys understood the thing polymorphism word. This is the one more concept, but so not attended. So we have to discuss many things about polymorphism when we talk about interfaces concept in the Java. Okay, that is very, 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 very important concept. And without that concept, we cannot assume any frameworks and any libraries, any APIs. Okay, so then we will spend enough time on that interfaces. Don't worry, just I'm giving the information. So like that interface concept is very important. There also you can observe the polymorphism technique when we are using interfaces, where we are implementing and holding that object into the interface reference variable like that. So we will try to understand it. So far you are clear, right? So far
Yes,
you
sir.
are clear. Padma, don't get confused. Okay, just go through the recordings and listen properly. Okay, and you are sometimes you are giving proper answers and acting actively, but sometimes you are not. You are getting confused and giving blind answers. Okay, so
Okay,
just
sir.
go through that. I mean, practice it. Everybody is practicing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.